What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Jay Knows Nothing, and I'm here to talk to you about, let's see, is analytics a problem in the NFL? You know, analytics is very much playing an important part in football now these days, especially in NFL and also in college football. So coaches are taking a lot more risks and going for it on fourth down. Now, one of the biggest risks I had ever seen was happening at the end of the Chargers and Browns game. I just so happened to catch that, and so the Chargers were in the lead. It was about minute 14 to go. It was 4th down and 2, and they were on the, I believe, like their own 44 or 45 yard line. So traditionally, in that situation, most teams would kick it, and especially Cleveland at that time didn't even have any timeouts. So what you do is, the smart thing to do would be to punt it and have them drive the distance of the field to see if they can get a game-winning score. Basically challenge their offense to march down the field. Instead, Brandon Staley decides to go for it on 4th and 2 in their own territory. It's one thing if you're in their territory, maybe closer to like the 20-yard line or closer to their goal line. But even then, most teams will probably kick the field goal rather than go for it on 4th and 2. It's one thing if it's 4th and inches. You have Justin Herbert. Yeah, he can go ahead and get an inch. I mean, all he has to do is literally just fall over, and he got it. Quarterback sneak would have been ideal in a 4th and inches situation, but we're talking about 4th and 2 yards. There's no guarantee that a quarterback sneak will get you 2 yards. It'll definitely get you an inch, close to a yard, maybe not 2. But in any event, they dropped back the pass, and the pass ended up being incomplete. And not only that, so now the Browns no longer have to go from their end of the field to drive down. They're already in the Chargers' territory, to where they only have to get a few yards to get the game-winning field goal. Now, luckily for the Chargers, the Browns really couldn't advance the ball so much, and the kicker ended up missing a 54-yard potential game-winning field goal with about 16 seconds left. So, he dodged the bullet. But that was still a critical decision there. That was probably one of the worst decisions I've ever seen, was to go for it on 4th and 2. You basically almost have the game on lock, and you're forcing your defense. You're putting your defense in a bad situation by they have to defend their territory instead of defending the opposite side of the field. Instead of making Jacoby Brissett and the Cleveland Browns march about 60 yards for a field goal. If you punt the ball, the punter more likely is going to get that ball within the 20-yard line on the Browns side of the football field. So, and potentially, possibly even pin them down all the way down to the 1-yard line, depending on how the ball bounces. But either way it is, forcing Cleveland to drive about 40-plus yards down the field to field goal range, or better yet, probably 60-plus yards to field goal range, rather than having them potentially pick up 10 yards to get into field goal range, sounds a whole lot better than me. Sounds a whole lot better than anybody. I don't know I don't know if this was an analytical thing. I can understand going for it on 4th down and 2 to hey, go ahead and seal the game, and not have to worry about kicking it. But if it was like 4th and inches, maybe I probably would consider going for it. Go ahead and quarterback sneak that thing, or even pretend like I'm gonna actually go for it. The fact that they actually went for it, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, they're probably just going to, do a fake hike, probably try to see if they can draw him off sides. But then when he hiked the ball, I'm like, Even Keenan Allen, he put on Twitter, he's like, man, what the are we doing? I'm pretty sure every football fan in LA, every Charger fan in America was like, what are you doing? You said punt it. Cleveland like, yes. And I mean, unfortunately, like I said, they lost by 2 points, 30-28. But man, Coach Staley, oh man, you really dodged a big one on that one, man. You dodged a big one. So those are my 2 cents about Brandon Staley's crazy decision at the end of the game. Hopefully he gets a little bit conservative when it comes to those things. I mean, I get it. He tries to be like last year. He was an aggressive coach, always going for it or always doing things that were unconventional. At the same time, may have costed his team some games. I mean, the Chargers were a very up and coming team last year, especially with Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert is, as we've seen, one heck of a quarterback. And it's unfortunate that, hey, some decisions by his own coach could potentially lose them games. And this was a game they should have lost. But, thankfully the Chargers were able to hold them were able to hold the Browns from going any further down the field. And therefore they had to come out and kick a 54-yarder. But, like I said, 4th down and 2. In your own territory, you got to punt that ball, man. Got to punt it. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Those are my 2 cents. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe. By the way, anybody else, ever since the Chargers moved to LA, whenever you see the initials LAC, do anybody else think the Clippers? Am I the only one that still think the Clippers instead of the Chargers? I appreciate you all for tuning in. Until next time. Deuces.